Good morning, everyone. Welcome to sportsbookreview.com. And this is Marching to Madness. I'm Flash, and I'm joined by Dr. Donnie and Dr. Max as we go through the NCAA B card. 23 games. I'm already running away with myself. It's going to be rat-a-tat-tat. Donnie, welcome home.
Yeah, no, feeling good today. Thursday, we got a huge card to go over. Not a lot to recap, but certainly, as Flash would like to say, a lot of worms to pick out. I just retweeted the show, so if you could be so kind in the chat box, hit the retweet button. Let's grow the show. Huge card today. We're going to have some fun, Flash.
Max, how did you fare yesterday?
Yesterday, the show picks were not good. I pretty much got burnt on every under that I took. But luckily for myself and hopefully for the season cappers in the chat box, you hit something live and you got some of your money back.
Donnie, what about the Tar Heels? Giving up a 15-point second half lead. They find a way to get beat again, but we was on them plus 2.5, so we covered.
Yeah, no, that was an interesting game, but just to counter off a point that Max said, maybe Max had a little bit of a down day, Flash, because he didn't have to go opposite of me and pick up some easy victories. So maybe that'll be the case today. But getting back to the UNC game, have we seen this all year long? I mean, just a young team not able to close out. You have big victories on the table to maybe make a run in the March Madness, i.e. beating Duke at home when you should have done that and then losing in overtime. And last night, just going through the rundown of seeing a 15-point lead late in the second half go up in flames. Amazing. And you see Roy Williams up at the podium after the game wanting to shed a little bit of a tear. Don't shed a tear, Roy. Get your team in order over there.
Max, was it right that you took your foot off the gas yesterday because you thought it was going to be so easy because your main competition and teammate was not here?
No, it was never like that. You never think that going into any college basketball card, whether it be a Monday or Saturday card, that's going to be easy. The bookmakers are out there to beat you, and if something looks easy from my experience, it's probably not the best play to make.
It's a tough time, Max, although I did see you tweet out last night, St. John's and Xavier, under 160, and it came in at 151. You picked the worm out of that one.
Yeah, no, I definitely can pick numbers because there's certain times in games that you want to start looking at it. Like if you see that you're losing an under within the first 8 minutes of the game, you don't jump right into trying to find that play. You sit patiently, you watch the game, you get a feel, you see how shots are being missed and how shots are being made, and then you jump in on a total with 3 or 4 minutes left in the game, leaving less volatility to happen within that longer period of game time.
Yeah, much appreciated that you're actually tweeting out your in-play fancies as well. Official in-play and a lot more of them. So make sure you follow Max and make sure you keep your finger close to that button to press it. Donnie, Kansas 20 over Iowa State.
Yeah, we're easy win by them. And how about this one, Flash? Because, last night we had a little bit of a morsels, not a lot of high major games that we can sink our teeth into. But then sometimes as sports bettors, gamblers, and also fans, Flash, we fast forward like, you know what's coming on Saturday, Flash? Baylor, Kansas. Good for them to get out of the way. We'll see if Baylor can escape this week unscathed as well. But Saturday, mark your calendars. Baylor is going to take on Kansas, and I can't wait.
There's some cracking games. I mean, I can't wait later on. We've got 23 games, 5 road favourites, just the 5. I think we're going to have an unbelievable day today, Max. I look at ESPN, and they've got Kansas, Indiana, Arizona State, and Stanford listed as last 4. Who's the weakest of them 4?
Yeah, I would definitely say Arizona State at this point. They're the ones with injury issues. They're the ones with road winning issues. And I think that now it's not really looking at what they're doing on a point spread or a total basis. It's what they're doing as an overall body of work. All the games that have been played so far for Arizona State are going to be taken into consideration. And the worse they look, the worse that the recent memory for the people that are deciding is going to impact them. So if they're going to be falling out, if one team out of those 3 are going to be falling out, it would definitely be Arizona State in my opinion.
Donnie, ESPN also has a WCC as a free bid league with the Zags, BYU and St. Mary's. But both have to play the Zags. Are they going to need to win to cement their place?
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting because to me, I'm a mid-major guy, and I like basketball that's played at this level. So to me, I hope Gonzaga, BYU, and St. Mary's, all three of these teams get in the tournament. But you bring up that interesting predicament because heading down the stretch, Gonzaga's going to play both. I don't anticipate Gonzaga losing, but if one of those two teams, BYU or St. Mary's, can pick up a win against Gonzaga, that's probably going to cement their forward momentum in the March Madness. But let's just say Gonzaga sweeps the table the rest of the way and wins the WCC, which means, again, Flash, in tournament play, you're going to have BYU and St. Mary's probably match up against each other to knock one of them out. And then if you meet the Zags in the tournament final, hopefully they can win because, again, if you do win your conference tournament, you get the automatic bid into March Madness. I think one of those teams does have to win, but I got to say, as a fan and just a pure basketball guy, I would love to see all three of these teams get in. Not so sure they do unless one of them can actually upend Gonzaga.
Yeah, great time of the year. Tough time as well if you're capping, so you need to be getting the best advice possible. And the two doctors are here. Let's kick off. Deep breath. 23 games. Here we go. Illinois versus Penn State. Illinois getting 6.5. They're getting 7 in a place, Max.
Yeah, this is an interesting spot for Illinois. We have obviously the injury for Ao, and we're not sure if the ankle is going to be good enough for him to go in tonight. And then you have Myron Jones, the point guard, out for Penn State. This is a spot where I can't make an official play. I don't really even want to make a play on this because of the lack of injury updates that I've gotten so far this early in the day. At the number, my numbers did like Penn State. Penn State's been balling for you if you've been on them, 16-8-1 ATS. They get out early on you in the first half, being able to get 35 to 40 points. That's always good. You always want to be a good starter. 3-point shooting is more accurate and better shot selection overall from Penn State, and just more efficient offensively. And I think that on their home court with Lamar Stevens as your lead star, I think that's a hard spot not to look at Penn State.
Donnie, we were saying last week that Penn State looked decent and they're at home. I think they get it done.
Yeah, and again, the March into Madness mantra here is watch what you do on the road if you're going to back a Big Ten team. We saw Illinois go into Rutgers and get blasted, and again, that was without one of their better players, which probably is going to be out tonight. We'll see if Penn State gets some good injury news today, but it also comes when you look at Penn State. You think of them as a football school, but they do damage, Flash, especially on their home court. It's one of those, if I were to take this game 6:30 p.m., which is always nice, right around when you finish up dinner, you get that early wave of games. I would lean towards Penn State. Not really an official show play, but I find it hard to go with Illinois, especially the way they just got dubbed, maybe licking their wounds a little bit. Still not going to have probably their best player, but also if he does come back, how effective can he be on that knee ankle injury that we saw him sustain a couple games ago? It's one of those games, Flash, I just can't take Illinois. If anything, I'm taking Penn State here on their home court.
Yeah, totally agree. I think Penn State get the job done here. Let's move on. Stay with you, Donnie. Oklahoma State getting 10.5 going into West Virginia.
Yeah, look, West Virginia, when we take a look at coming into the game, just 3 or 4 games have won for Oklahoma State, and we take a look at West Virginia. What happened to them, Flash? Losers of their last 3 games, now no longer vying for that Big 12 title, looking to settle in. It's tough to go into, West Virginia and pick up a victory, but I got to tell you, it's one of those where you're looking at a line elevated that high, and you're saying to yourself, I got a team that's playing good basketball in Oklahoma State. I got a team just find their way for West Virginia. So sometimes you get into plays without even looking at the overall statistics of the game. When you're West Virginia, you're just looking for a victory to break up that losing streak. I'm not going to lay that big number. I actually lean towards Oklahoma State in this game, Flash.
Okay, lean the road dog, Max. 10.5. Is it too big?
I think that's a big number, but we have to keep in mind, what does Bob Huggins like to do at home when his team gets out to a lead? He doesn't stop. If this team is in a position to win this game, I don't think that they're calling the dogs off in the last 3 to 4 minutes just by recent history and watching games with my own eyes. I think that you definitely have to have a worry about how West Virginia's been taking care of the ball. We've seen that when the ball's thrown down to the low post, low block, defense has been able to bring double teams and really force West Virginia into forcing their own turnovers. I think that with West Virginia at home, it's a dangerous spot to be going against them. I'm not looking to make a play on it. I'm more interested in looking to a play towards the under. I'm not going to make it official for the show because of how things are going, but I'll just say it like this. I think that Oklahoma State has trouble getting to 60, and I think that West Virginia definitely gets to 70. So I think that there's value on the under. I'm not going to make it official, though.
Okay, Il Wise in the chat says under 136 in the West Virginia game. Let's move on, though, Max, because I think this number's too big and they're my team. Maryland giving up 14.5 at Northwestern.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot for Maryland, as I'll say on a lot of these games today. We're seeing line movement right now on the under, and we remember what happened last time. We had similar line movement, and then we had the number just get blasted. I think it finished close to under 150. So I am a little weary of this game completely from a total perspective, probably laying off it. And from Maryland, I think that the only way you play this game is you play this game first half, you see what's going on, you see if Maryland's taking this game seriously, and you see if Northwestern's able to get anything done offensively. This is a team on a 9-game losing streak, but they have covered 2 double-digit spreads within that streak, one at Rutgers and one at Illinois. So I am weary of this game completely. I would lean Maryland first half. Nothing official on this game for me.
Donnie, we know that Maryland win games, but they don't win them by 14.5 points, especially on the road.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. I think Max nails it there in the first half because I think you're going to get full. I always say the first half is the most pure basketball that you're going to get for the game. You're not worried about last 4 or 5 minutes, the bench mob coming in and, running up and down the court and the fans cheering to see if one of these, trainer type guys can actually make a 3-point shot. So I think you get a better look in the first half. But when you take a look at this game, there's a really low team total for Northwestern and for good reason. You're talking about 59.5. A week ago, we were talking about on the show, Texas Tech, TCU holding a team down like that 58.5 range, and it just makes sense. This one sort of does, because when you take a look at Northwestern on offense in the Big Ten, last in offensive efficiency, but also on defense last in offensive efficiency. So this one might have that look of, let's just say at halftime, if you run out to a 36-19 or 20 lead, that second half, you're not going to get the pace that you want, because looking at overall these teams, even on defense, they stretch you out a little bit. I'm more worried if you're taking a look at a total. 132 is extremely low. Can Maryland go up and down the court and run roughshod on the defense? I think they can, but the thing I'm not so sure of here is if the return fire from Northwestern can take place. 59.5 is a really low team total, Flash, and I got to tell you, I'm looking at the under on that team total for Northwestern. I don't think the pace will be there, and I think Maryland's defense can lock up that offense.
Yeah, solid defense, by the way, there from Maryland. Let's move on. Another good team on the road. It's Dayton giving up 3.5 going into VCU, Donnie.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite games of the night, and this is probably my favorite conference in the country. When we take a look at these two teams, what does Dayton not do well? Well, pretty much nothing. They play really good defense. They play great offense. They have very good efficiency. They have guys that can go out and get buckets. They have elite star talent. If some things break down, Obi Toppin can go get you those points. When you take a look at VCU, there's not a lot to like, but also forget about just looking at statistics and how good Dayton is. When you take a look at VCU, is it tough to beat them at home? Yes. But when you look at the level of competition that you need to rise to beat Dayton, you're talking about VCU losing to the Rhode Islands of the world, Dayton's of the world, teams that can level up and meet you at the rim. And what I mean by that is the same sort of competition. You're not going to outmuscle Dayton in this game if you're VCU. When VCU pounds on basketball teams, they force you into turnovers. They run because they're more athletic than you. Dayton is more athletic than VCU. The line seems a little bit short, which scares me a little bit. But just looking back, you're basically saying, can Dayton go on the road and beat VCU, Flash? I think they can. I'm not betting against Dayton here.
What about you, Max? You like Dayton giving up 3.5 on the road?
By my numbers, the values on Dayton first half at this short number, I think that obviously when you're on the road, you need a good start. I think that it focuses on getting Obi Toppin going early. You cannot have him only having 13 shot attempts in a game on the road versus VCU in a crazy environment where they're going to be able to bring different defensive looks at you and try and make you make your own mistakes. It really comes down to what you're going to get out of Chapman, out of Trey Landers, out of Ryan Mixell, and, of course, your point guard, Jalen Crutcher. I think Jalen Crutcher is the X factor for this game. If Jalen Crutcher starts early and gets his game going and gets Obi Toppin going, well, Dayton's going to be flying, and flying fanatics are going to be drinking beers and taking shots of Jagger.
What's that hat and jumper you've got on?
I got my Creighton Blue Jays sweater on, and I got my Appalachian State hat on.
Okay, a bit of mix and match there, but a nice bit of blue. We like blue. Donnie, Dayton and VCU. You like Dayton?
I do. And I'm looking right now at 5 dimes numbers offshore. You can get a -3, which, again, my whole theory is not really so much can they cover. You're basically in that -3 range saying, can they win the ball game? I think they can. And then you take a look at the over-under at 143. This is a really tough game because old school VCU, this would be like, this is a great number. I'm going to get 3 with VCU at home. I know they're coming to play. But you also take, Flash, one quick point on this as well, which I want to get Max's take on. You just played on Saturday. Your crosstown rival in your biggest matchup, Richmond versus VCU. You got smoked in that game. Then your consolation prize is to turn around and get Dayton when you're a little bit down in the dumps. Don't like that one, Flash.
No. Donnie, I'm going to come back to you, though, because I've got Creighton. So we go to Max in a minute. +3 going into Marquette.
Another good matchup here. When you take a look at both of these teams coming in, Creighton 9-4 in the Big East, and you take a look at Marquette, who lost to Creighton 92-75. So a little bit of maybe some, I want to come back and get some revenge in this game. What's not to like about Creighton, one of the most efficient teams, especially in the Big East? I love the Big East because from top to bottom, you get a hammer game each and every night. There's no days off in this conference. But when you take a look, if the 3 balls are going down for Creighton, they're damn near unstoppable. Almost 39% in conference play from 3-point range, but not far behind is Marquette. And anytime you got a guy like Marcus Howard that can step up and ring the bell, this game is at Marquette, Flash. And I'm thinking revenge in this game. Give me Marquette.
Revenge for Marquette, and you're wearing Creighton. Go on, Max.
I think it's pretty obvious where I'm going. I'm going Creighton gets it done again. This is just a very impressive offensive team. Yes, they can make their threes, but when you have Denzel Mahoney, the Southeast Missouri State transfer, what do you have? You have size, physicality, and the ability to go inside, back someone down, and get a couple fouls on what I call a maybe undersized Marquette team. Brendan Bailey, he is susceptible to get into foul trouble. Same with Theo John and Jace Johnson. I'll admit he is the one guy in the front court that I'm worried about for this Marquette team. But from a offensive standpoint, the backcourt of Creighton can take care and extinguish, even out, if you say, what Marcus Howard and Kobe McEwen can do. By my numbers, I have this game as a pick'em. At 3, there's value with Creighton. I'm taking Creighton, and I'm also taking Creighton first half because you want to look at that advantage. There's a +9 advantage for Creighton.
What about the money line? And we'll have all 3.
No, I'm not taking the money line on the show. I'll take the 3, and I'll take the first half.
Okay, so you're not that confident. That's all nice to see.
No. Flash, let's put all on the board. On the show, exactly. I'm not going to take risks with other people's money.
No, I'll tell you what.
A solid value play.
The max I'm seeing at the moment, we're only 5 games in of 23, and you're like that dog that's been booted. You're just sitting in the corner. You got to come back strong. Get them teeth out, Max. Cracking game. Baylor, -3.5 on the road. Going into Oklahoma, Max. Get them teeth out.
Yeah, this is a simple spot for me. It's Baylor. I'm taking Baylor. I'm going to be a square. I'm going to do it over and over again until they actually lose the game. What are we going to get from Baylor? We know they're going to get solid defensive play. They're going to be able to hopefully get the offensive going like they were able to at home versus West Virginia. I don't think that there's a letdown. There's a bullseye on their back. Everybody's gunning for them. Coach Drew's going to get them ready. He understands how to make adjustments in game. I think that we're going to see a variety of different defenses, and I think that this may be a game where we get frustrated with Baylor from a scoring perspective, but it's a short enough number by my lines that there's value. So Baylor -3.5 is an official play already. Put it out earlier.
Thanks for that, Max. Donnie, Baylor, do they get it done again on the road? And the number is like, it almost feels like a trap.
Yeah, it does. It has the same feel for me in that Dayton VCU game where you're saying, wait a second, man, I'm getting an upper-level team that basically just has to go in and win this game. But if you take a look at the not-so-fast, as Lee Corso would say on ESPN, Oklahoma's only got one loss this year at home, Flash, and that was to Kansas. Didn't play them within double digits, but if I'm going to take a look at Baylor here, maybe some injury information that could come out a little bit later today, who's in, who's out for Baylor, which might make some difference. And we're talking about Teague in that injury regard. But a 3.5 line, maybe to a 4 line. If it's 4, I might be biting on Oklahoma because, again, these star college kids, you have that monster game on Saturday that you're looking forward to. Do you still want to stay perfect in the Big 12? Of course you do, if you're Baylor's perspective. Is it hard to step in front of Baylor? They're not used to losing. When the last time they lost? Like early November? They're used to winning and doing it in style, especially on the road. You might get a slow down pace in this one, but I got to tell you, from those, just being an old school handicapping type guy, I look at this and say, this is one of those situations where you absolutely would want to take Oklahoma, but the fear of betting into and saying, you know what? You're probably going to have to beat Baylor outright to get this. Not many teams have done it. Matter of fact, Flash, only one team has done it. Sharp in me says, give me Oklahoma, but sitting back going, come on, man. This is money here. It might be some better games that you want to spend it on trying to be a sharp guy and try to outsmart yourself and go against Baylor.
Better game? You ordered a better game? This is the best game of the day for me. This is Kentucky versus my LSU. And Kentucky getting 2.5. There's going to be plenty of people, Donnie, who are going to take that 2.5. But come on, LSU. 3 straight defeats. I need a win. I need a W, Donnie.
Yeah, look, this is a great game in the SEC, and we're talking about teams that want to make that move in the March Madness. This is the one that you're going to need, and you take a look at LSU saying, boy, they're going in the wrong direction. Let's also keep in mind there's a big swing from home and away in conference play. When you take a look at LSU losers, flash of 3 or 4 games, well, those 3 games that they lost were on the road. Where are they playing tonight? In LSU against a Kentucky team that's 10-2 in SEC play. And when you hear me talk about all the time, Flash, in styles and fights and how they make sense, I actually don't think, even though LSU comes in 12th in defensive efficiency out of 14 teams in the SEC, I don't think they match up very well with LSU. And here's the reason behind it. If you're taking a look at 3-point shots in conference play, Flash, Kentucky is 14th behind the arc at volume, meaning shooting it, not making the 3, just average shots that they take from 3-point range. When you take a look at LSU's defense, they're 13th in the conference at letting you shoot from 3-point range. So Kentucky's not going to come in and be like, oh, man, we're real comfortable from the 3-point range. We want to launch away. That's not what they do. So you say, what do they do well, Flash, from Kentucky's viewpoint? Number 2 in the conference at getting about 55% of their offense from inside the 3-point range. But if you match that up with LSU, LSU is 13th in the conference at giving it up at only 43%. LSU's defensive imprint matches up very well with Kentucky. The only way I can go here in Flash is taking LSU tonight.
Hey, we love Donnie. Listen, you've always been my favourite, Donnie. Max, I know that you love LSU, but they seem lazy to me. They just want to get into that bracket. And then we might see a different LSU. They've got talent, but they're so sloppy.
Yeah, it's really painful to watch Javonte Smart just fumble around and make stupid mistake after stupid mistake. And I watch all LSU games, so I see exactly what's going on. And there just is too much there's too much emphasis on him running the offense, and I think that Skylar Mays can do just as good of a job, if not better, and make better decisions. I'm really worried about Kentucky tonight going into the Bayou and really smacking the Tigers early. I think that really, when you have to think about this, if Emmanuel Quickley and Ashton Hagen is going to be able to create turnovers with their ball pressure, get out in transition, it's going to be a problem. If this game is a running game like I think it's going to be, LSU is going to have to be efficient early. I think that they need to get out to a lead. It's a play that I don't really feel comfortable giving a play out as far as the side, but I definitely look at that over. I think that points are getting scored in this game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and I've wrote down here that LSU needs to stamp their authority on this game and make Kentucky panic, rush, because when we get behind with LSU, they seem to just, we'll just do enough, don't worry, we'll see you in the bracket. Well, I tell you what, they are on the back of 3 straight losses. I want and I desperately need a W tonight. Okay, let's move into the majors. Vanderbilt plus 13 at Tennessee. What Vanderbilt's turning up, Max?
Yeah, this line's been going up and down a little bit, and it's giving me a little stay away feeling from. Listen, this Vanderbilt team should be able to stay within this number at Tennessee, but we've seen teams go into Tennessee like Arkansas and get blasted. It's really inconsistent from both teams from a win-loss perspective and from watching both of their games. I just don't really have a feel. I think that you look at making a play on Vandy first half to see what's going on and then have the willpower to make a play at halftime to try and either hedge out or double up with Tennessee. Nothing strong for me there.
So do you think Vandy are going to be around the 7 mark?
Yeah, I think that your standard
7.5.
7 at this point.
7.5. That seems decent because you know what they're like. They're a side that once they get going and they get their confidence up, they'll shoot from anywhere. And they've got decent players. I mean, I like young Pippin. And Saban Lee, he obviously ripped my heart out less than 2 weeks ago. Is it too many points, Donnie?
I think it's too many points, but I think Max actually has the right angle in this game because when we take a look at Flash, hey, look, you probably hate Vanderbilt as is because they took down your LSU squad as their only conference victory since 1941.
And scored 99 points,
overall,
Donnie.
When you have a team that can knock down the three. Now, they don't do it efficiently because they're 14th in conference at actual percentage from three-point range, but their volume is there. If you look at the first half, they're going to be firing from three-point range. Two things are going to happen, Flash. Either one, they're going to be on point, or two, they're going to be horrible. So if you're not covering the 7.5 at the end of the first half, they're not just going to turn it on in the second half on the road and start knocking down three-pointers. If they're hot in the first half, you'll get that cover. You don't have to sweat the full game. But if they're down 11 at the half, I don't think they shoot their way back into it. So it's a good look by Max. I would lean on taking the 7.5 if you want to back Vanderbilt, because if their three balls are going down, they might even have a lead at the half. But I don't want to go and say, you know what, I need a full 40 minutes out of these guys chucking three-pointers when they only make about 30% of them. If you can get hot in the first half, Vanderbilt might be a good look at getting that 7.5.
Yeah, couldn't agree more there. Vandy are definitely not a second-half team. I mean, they've only turned it on once. And then they got 99 points. And it just happened to be, as you say, against my LSU. So we're going to move on. Arkansas getting 7.5 going into Florida, Donnie.
Yeah, it's not a good spot for Arkansas here, I don't think. And the one thing, you're catching Florida maybe at a little bit of a bad time. It had those little woes during SEC play, but now look like they're figuring out 1, 4, or 5. Arkansas losers of 4 straight games going in. 7.5 in a conference play like this, a little bit tough maybe you think for Florida to get over. But just looking at the overall numbers, Florida is a pretty good shooting three-point team. They're at home. You usually give the nod about 38% from three-point range, which is actually number 1 in conference play. But when we take a look at the defensive side of the perspective, 36% of the three-point shots come from Arkansas volume-wise. Florida gives up the same exact amount. So Arkansas does match up well, but this is one of those games where I'm looking at Florida making their move into the SEC tournament and March Madness play, getting better as the season goes on. Winners of the past couple games. Arkansas is losing. If Arkansas was at home, maybe lean towards them, but on the road, I can't back a team loses of 4 straight going into Florida. Number is high at 7.5. I lean towards Florida in this one still.
Cheers, Donnie. Arkansas getting the 7.5. I fancy Florida. People in the chat fancy Beach Boss is getting -7, so he's missing out on the hook. And Rycape, he said Arkansas. I know it's Arkansas. Max.
Yeah, I think that Donnie's on the right track here. The fact is, without Isaiah Joe for Arkansas, this is a team that I just cannot back on the spread regardless. I'm just going to stand by that. The play that I'm more interested in looking at and hitting, because I do see it getting steamed up, is the over. Listen, what we're going to do from Arkansas is going to get to the free throw line a ton right now. There's a heavy emphasis in their offense in it right now. They're getting to the line 30 times a game the last 5 games, making 22 at a 72%, which obviously is over 70 and makes them quality to look at a play on a total in my book. Obviously, Florida can score the basketball a variety of different ways. We're seeing the guards finally emerge and start to do what a lot of prognosticators thought they were going to do last year with Noah Locke and Andrew Nembhard. I think that with turnovers, Arkansas is going to be able to get some transition buckets and some layups. I think that Florida is going to be able to take advantage on the offensive glass and get some second chance opportunities and possibly some buckets with not a lot of time coming off the clock. And I think that when you look at these teams, Florida is definitely the type of team at home that wants to score 80 now and is capable, has dominant front court players. I think that's the difference in this game.
Okay. It looks like a tough game for me. I'm thinking Florida, they love to run from behind. And you're getting Arkansas getting 7.5 maybe. Okay, this next game, I had it as a pick 'em, Max. Purdue going into Wisconsin. Purdue getting +4. But are they getting the +4 just because compensation of being on the road?
Yeah, I think that this is another tough spot for Purdue to go into Wisconsin. Hostile environment. These are two teams that do not get a lot of shots up. These are two teams that I don't really find to be that efficient in comparison to some other teams within the conference. I think when you look at Wisconsin, I think that they've been able to deal with the loss of Kobe King. I think that's behind them. With Potter in the starting lineup, you have some very good mismatches that I think that they can really take advantage of. When you look at the point guard play, this is another distinction that I think that Wisconsin has the advantage of. Brad Davison, as long as he's staying on the floor, he doesn't get into early foul trouble, he can score the basketball, he can play just as good defense. Noel Eastern is a liability in offense. You could bring double teams on Travion Williams or Matt Harms because of that, and I think that in the end, Wisconsin is going to be able to take care of business on their home floor. I like the better at 4. I'm still impartial to it at 4.5, but I'm not going to make it official at this point.
And lean total, under or over?
Under.
Okay, that's just a lean. Donnie, under, and we're going to go with the home side.
I like the home side here. I'm looking at 5 dimes right now. Just hit the refresh button. It is at -4. So obviously in one of those games, we're not going to get a ton of possessions. Every half point certainly does matter in this game. The 122 is extremely low, but when you take a look at an offensive and defensive imprint for Wisconsin, there's 14 teams in the Big Ten. They're the slowest pace on offense, averaging about 20 seconds off the shot clock before they shoot. You know what the problem with that is here, Flash? Purdue, also one of the slowest teams on defense, which makes you extend your offense, and you don't get that quick-looking shot. But when you take a look at just the offensive-defensive matchups, it matters. And you're talking about, again, playing into being a home Big Ten team, looking at a team that wants to shoot volume from three-point range. In conference play, Flash, Wisconsin shoots about 43% of their shots from three-point range. Well, that helps because Purdue will let you get off over 40% of your shots from three-point range. Styles make fights in this one. I can't look towards Purdue heading out on the road. I like the way Wisconsin is rounded in the form after, getting some changes in their lineup. It's going to be Wisconsin for me. It's 4 at 5 dimes. I'll make that official for a show play. If Purdue goes in and wins this game, I'll take my hat off to them. I just think Wisconsin, the better basketball team at home, and will be more efficient on offense. I like Wisconsin here.
Yeah, 122 is, it's an unbelievably low total, but we're just going to take the home side -4, an official from Donnie. Donnie, I'm going to stay with you. We're going to go into the mid-majors. Here we go. The boys have got their skis on, and it's all downhill. Davidson, +11.5 against St. Joseph's. Donnie.
St. Joe.
Sorry. Sorry, Donnie. Sorry, Rafa.
No, St. Joseph's really bad ball club here. And if we took a look on Saturday, one of the interesting things was Ryan Daly had a ankle injury that he sustained in the previous game, but he did play the rest of the game. Didn't get much information, and all of a sudden you say, hey, look, Ryan Daly's not in the layup line here versus Rhode Island. And I believe the team total actually got it at was 69.5, either 69.5 or 68.5. That plummeted all the way down to the low 60s. Didn't even need that much help in that one. This is a really bad basketball team overall, and Ryan Daly is their only guy that can buoy that offense and maybe keep your, still some punches in the fight that you're going to have. He's probably not going to play again tonight. But the one thing that you look at Davidson, they're not an overall flashy team. They're going to run their offensive sets, and they should be able to score at will. The only problem is if you're going to take that high of a number, even look at the total, can St. Joseph's punch back? They're still going to shoot 1 million three-point shots. But if they're off, which they usually are, do you really want to dip into a total and say it's going to go over even a team total on Davidson? This is a tough one. I would stay away because I think the line is getting out of hand right now for Davidson. But I do think Davidson wins this game comfortably, but I'm not willing to put my money on it here, Flash.
Max, is 11.5 too much, or do you like the home side?
Well, I wish that 11.5 was still around. I'm only seeing 13s and 13.5. Yeah. So
wow, that's gone in 35 minutes, Max.
Yeah.
That's what happens at this time in the morning, This is what happens in college basketball every day, and you have to just be on point. That's why you see me have bags underneath my eyes, because I'm sitting here watching lines, waiting for my number to come up to hit.
So do you think the lines move too far the other way?
I don't think that it's moved too far, but the value has decreased significantly, and we're also seeing the total go down a little also. Remember, it opened at 148. We're seeing 144s and 145s across the board right now, so there is buyback on it. In this game, it's hard for me not to look at Davidson even at this number. Davidson is putting up points right now. They're hitting threes. They're getting to the free throw line. Jung Lee is in the lineup. He is the X factor for this team. Davidson's putting it together all at the right time. And like Donnie alluded to, no Ryan Daly, no soup for you, as I would say.
Okay. Illwise says that Purdue under 122 is a maximum bet. 3 stars. I mean, that is a hell of a brave play at 122. And the other one, I'm just going to throw into the pair of you, just for Jungle. Old Miss and Missouri, Donnie, any thoughts at all just to help them out in the chat?
No, I don't have much thoughts on that game. I didn't take too much in that. Max, you got any thoughts on that one?
No, not on Ole Miss.
Okay, that's all right. Move on. I did ask Jungle. You got nothing. Okay, Ball State getting plus 4.5. Going into Buffalo, Max.
Yeah, this is an interesting spot from a total perspective. We've seen this line open at 141, get up to all the way up to 150. So there's been perfect middling action if you were watching the lines. This is a simple spot for me. What can we expect from Buffalo after some very nice but somewhat inconsistent performances? We know what Ball State's going to bring to the table. They're going to bring defensive intensity. They're going to be able to try and push you and run you off the three-point line. But the fact is, Buffalo just has so much depth at home. This is a small number. This is a spot where I got to look at Buffalo, and I think that they hold court here.
Donnie, he likes the home side. Are you going that way too? I'm always a big Buffalo proponent, especially at home. Both of these teams coming in MAC play, 7-5 apiece. But Max is right, because even when you're trying to take a look at totals, you want that evenness about basketball games, and sometimes he's right. When you talk about running off of the three-point line from a defensive imprint, Ball State #1 in the conference at not letting you get your three off. And how about Buffalo, Max? #2 in the conference at running you off of the three-point line. But both of these teams really not so much relying on the three-point shot, although when you take a look at Ball State, they shoot a volume amount from three-point range. You look at Buffalo. If you ever watch their defensive games, they are fast. They're like greyhounds out there. They're going to run around. They're going to try to force turnovers. #4 in the conference, #7 in the conference at forcing them. But also take a look at tempo-wise. They like to get to the rack on offense. #1 in the conference at about 15 seconds on the shot clock. Ball State will engage that, Max. 16 on the shot clock. So you're going to get an up-tempo shot on one side, but then again on Ball State's side, which way is going to win out here? When I usually look at these games and you want to influence the factor of games, if Ball State is at home and say, you know what, we're a slower team, we're going to dictate this game. But sometimes when you get on the road and go into different environments, if Buffalo can get their claws in and force you into an up-tempo game, this should be Buffalo's win. I'm not looking for Ball State to go on the road and beat Buffalo and Buffalo. Only Buffalo for me here, Flash.
Okay, totals at 146.5. Do you think that goes over, Max? Just a quick yes or no.
Yeah, I think that it goes over, but I will say this. There is 20-point revenge. Ball State did win by 20 on their home court. Buffalo could be looking to return the favor.
Okay, we got 210 people in the chat. 44 thumbs up. Put your thumbs up. Subscribe, and we'll let you know and you don't miss anything. We'll make sure we notify you. Let's move on. Central Michigan, +4. Going into Ohio, Donnie.
Central Michigan +4 going into Ohio. Let me just bring up this game real quick for us here. All right, let's see what we got here. Actually, go to Max real quick. This froze up for me, Flash. I apologize.
Yeah, you know that it was my fault, not yours there, Donnie. So you looked after me. Max. Central Michigan +4 going into Ohio.
Yeah, this is one of my official plays for my overnight study and line movement action. Plain and simply, Jason Preston is excuse my language, fucking stoppable right now. He is on the floor being what you want every D1 team to have as a floor general. This guy is giving you triple-double numbers. He's making Tyrese Halliburton look like he's a freaking plain loaf of bread instead of a loaf of bread with some raisins in it. What I got to say about this Ohio team is they are going to be able to get their pace. They are going to be able to close out on jump shooters, and all these pick and rolls that Central Michigan is going to run and all these double screens that they're going to run to get their three-point shooters off, I think is going to be nullified. I think Ben Vanderbilt, this is an improved player in the MAC conference. I think that he's going to play dividends tonight. I look for, obviously, Jordan Dardis, the defensive old man of this team, to take care of business. This is a personnel bet. This is a number bet. I think Ohio wins this game comfortably, just like they did versus Western Michigan. And I think that Central Michigan has a little bit of trouble scoring the basketball tonight.
Okay, official play, the home side, Ohio. Are you on that side as well, Donnie, or are you going to go head-to-head?
Yeah, I'm probably not going to go head-to-head in this one, but Central Michigan, one of my favorite teams in college basketball, and we're riding high, got their starting five healthy, and all of a sudden the bottom falls out. You take a look at their last three games. This is a really efficient offense that can hit you at all angles. 60 points, 70 points, and 67 points. This is a team that likes to play in the high 70s, now going on the road against Ohio, and I've bet a couple of team totals against Central Michigan because you really get whatever shot you want to take against them. I want to say that Central Michigan's going to be able to bounce back, but those last three games don't give me all that much, agreement and saying you don't want to go this way. But Central Michigan games to me are built to go over the total. I think Max is right. Ohio's going to be able to score. If we can just get a decent effort out of Central Michigan, this game should be able to go over the total in the MAC here. I'll lean towards going over the total and stay away from a side. I think Central Michigan can snap back. I'm just not ready for them to go on the road and get a victory just yet, but I do think that offense will show up here versus Ohio.
Yeah, and the bigger factor is obviously going head-to-head with Max. You don't put your hand in a dog's mouth too often because you end up losing your fingers. Let's go back. Donnie, you know where I'm going. Akron versus Western Michigan, and the line's 8.5.
Akron, one of my favorite teams here, Flash. Why in the MAC? Because they can bomb away. They do everything well on offense, except when they play Eastern Michigan. 111 is their efficiency on offense. If you take a look at three-point shooting, which was even higher before they played Eastern Michigan, at about 42 to 43% of their shots from three-point range, Flash, not shooting them, making them. They're down to a paltry 40% from three-point range. When they go inside the arc, number one in the conference at 52%. And when you're looking to close teams out in the clutch, Flash, number one in the conference at 81%. I think Akron gets right in this ball game. I think Akron is able to throw flames even though they're going on the road. I'm taking Akron tonight, Flash. Make it official.
Official Akron. We love that, Max. Are you still whimpering in the corner, or are you going to come out fighting?
I'm never whimpering in the corner.
You're always. Where are you? Where are you in your house? You are in a corner.
Yeah, because that's how the desk is set up, so that I have a view of all my screens.
And by the way, you want to put a couple more logs on the fire. You look absolutely Baltic.
God. Okay, Flash. First off, I have an official play on this game. I'm on the under 142. Plain and simply, this is a spot where the first time these guys met, they put up 90-plus points in the second half. Western Michigan shot 47% from the three-point line. That isn't bloody happening again. So Akron's going to resort back to what they've done recently, which is shut teams down, and they struggle to hit 60 points against. Bowling Green, Eastern Michigan, both struggle to get to 60. Central Michigan, well, I don't want to talk about that because that was a painful memory. But you see where I'm going. I think that both these teams, also in Western Michigan, they don't benefit from playing a fast-paced game where Lauren Christian Jackson's hoisting up threes. I think Western Michigan tries to slow the game down. I think that they try and limit Akron's possessions, really get back on defense and stop any kind of forward momentum for them with Zarius Williams and company. And I think that they try and stay into it at least for the first half. But full game, what have we seen from Akron? They've been able to take care of business. So I will join Donnie on Akron first half, full game, make it official. And I'll also tell everybody that's watching, be watching that live line at halftime and get yourself some Akron.
Okay, we like that. We like that. Stay with you, Max. St. Louis -4 can get -3.5 in a place going into UMass.
Yeah, it's a real interesting matchup because you literally have the best forward in the A-10, the best big man, and that is Trey Mitchell. So what is going to happen? Hassan French is obviously going to have that assignment. And what is going to happen if Hassan French gets into foul trouble? That's a big defensive no-no for St. Louis tonight. I think that from an offensive perspective with Darius Goodwin and Javonte Perkins, you have guys that can score the basketball for you. The question is, how is UMass's backcourt going to stand up? It's a spot where I look at UMass, and I think that with the dominant big man, that's definitely going to pay dividends because he not only can score the basketball, he can pass the basketball out of the low block. He can get out and run. He does a lot of things good on defense, like help defending and being able to get back and protect the rim. It's hard for me not to look at UMass as a +4 dog in this spot.
UMass getting the 4. St. Louis, maybe you have to come from behind, Donnie.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at a couple things here on 5 Dimes right now. Actually sitting there, I think the line's up. I'm going to refresh this real quick, but I was sitting at a St. Louis line of 3 in this game, total of 138. Both team totals in this one, 70.5 for St. Louis, UMass at 68. I actually like the over in this game. I think Max brings up a really good point because when you take a look at guys getting in foul trouble, it's not the worst thing in the world if Hassan French does get in foul trouble because then you actually bring in a guy that might be able to make free throws and, hit an outside jumper. If you're taking a look at the way you beat St. Louis is fire from three-point range. Now, UMass doesn't make very many three-pointers. You're taking a look at 29%, which is 13th in conference out of 14 teams. But if you continue to be able to shoot them because St. Louis will allow you to on your home court, you should be able to make a dent. I think the pace gets there. I think even though these two teams aren't essentially running teams, I think both of them will get to the free throw line. Look, 60% from the foul line for St. Louis doesn't really get it done, but they should be there in volume in this game, and the same way with St. Louis. There's 14 teams, as we said, in conference. UMass is 10th in fouling. St. Louis is 13 in fouling. I think we'll get to the line, and if UMass can make some three-point shots in this game, I think we're taking a look at a game that's going to be played in the 140s. I like the over in this game as opposed to a side here. Let's make it official. How about that?
Official over. And you said, what, 139.5. That's not a big total, especially if they're both going to have a pop.
Yep.
Kent State, another road favourite, -3, going into Eastern Michigan. And any team that's got Michigan in it, Donnie, you love.
Yeah, usually I do, but Eastern Michigan stole a little bit of money from me a couple weeks ago when I had a team total going against them with Akron. And I got to tell you, you're looking at one of the worst teams coming into play in the MAC conference. They sort of can't find their way around, and all of a sudden the light bulb goes off where the offense is starting to click, and they've won 4 out of 5 games. Even though you still look at the overall, what they've done in conference play, one of the worst teams on offense, 3-point range, free throw per shooting, you name it. But that's not really been the case over the past couple of games. And also when you take a look at Kent State, the second best 3-point shooting team in conference play, which when you go against teams like Eastern Michigan, you go against teams like Syracuse, you do need to make a large amount of 3-point shots. But I got to say, when you're looking at these ball clubs and the way they match up, I'm done with saying, you know what, Kent State can shoot threes. Eastern Michigan's going to let you shoot threes. That defense really shakes up an offense here. And unless you're really on point, it's tough and struggle goes against them. I like Eastern Michigan. How crazy is that? This team stinks on the season, and I like Eastern Michigan in this spot here, Flash.
Eastern Michigan steals out of your pocket, and then you put an arm around them and want to go to the pictures with them. Max, what is he doing?
No, I agree with him there.
Oh,
I think that when you look at this Eastern Michigan team, what do? They really stop you from scoring the basketball at home. This is a team that we've watched and we've seen them do this. I think that when you look at the numbers will definitely favor this number going under. We have this impression of Kent State being able to really be offensive efficiently on a consistent basis, and that's not the case. I think on the road, this is a spot where they're going to struggle to score the basketball. I think Eastern Michigan really frustrates them the way that they did against Akron. I think that this is a dogfight all the way through, and I look at Eastern Michigan.
Okay, we're going to move on then. Nevada, 1.5, giving up. Going into New Mexico, might as well just be a pick 'em, Max.
Yeah, I wish that I got a pick 'em. I got a 2. I'm on Nevada. A little bit of a old loyalty to the Wolfpack. Definitely love what Jalen Harris has been able to do offensively. He is the kind of standout player that a lot of teams on the West Coast wish that they could freaking lure. When you look at this New Mexico team, what are they going to do? They're going to try and score the basketball with you. Well, Nevada can freaking oblige to that, and that's why you're seeing a total in the 160s. I think there is value on taking Nevada on the money line if you can get under 125. Nevada -2 is official play. It was on the overnight play. I think that with Nevada and New Mexico, you get a good side to hit some team totals, especially in the first half. And also, when you have good free throw shooting teams like Nevada on the road, I trust them a lot more to be able to make shots when you need to. A 38% three-point shooting team doesn't really sway me off either. But the most important part of stopping New Mexico, in my estimations, is really stopping their volume three-point shooting attempts. And with the sixth best three-point defense in the nation coming from the Wolfpack, I hate to give credit to Steve Alford because he is a C_K, but 28% from the three-point line, they are doing a great job of containing teams. I think they do it tonight and they win this game comfortably.
Johnny, we're going with Nevada going into New Mexico. The total's 160. Is that too high?
I think it is. Look, it's actually showing up on my 5-dime screen right now. It's 162 now. Before we started the show, Flash, this was hovering around 158, 159. I agree with the line movement going higher, but that doesn't mean I just agree with saying, well, 159, that's a big movement there. Now hitting 163 or over. Both of the team totals here, Flash, now sitting above 80, which is usually tricky. But if we're looking at a team that I trust more than the other one, if you take a look at New Mexico, after bludgeoning, getting their players back versus Wyoming, they really went in the can the next two games. They're a really talented, extremely fast-paced team on offense and can score. But when you take a look at Nevada, Max is right. This team shoots threes with volume, and this team is dead on from three-point range. And, oh, yeah, New Mexico in conference play, dead last at defending the three. So let me tell you something. If I'm going to get a team that shoots 39% from three, number one in the conference, against a defense that will let me shoot threes and gives up 39% from three-point range, how can you look against Nevada? If you're just looking to be contrarian and say, well, New Mexico's going to rise up, be in the pit at home, they're going to get that home court advantage. I was waiting for that bounce-back bump from when their players got back from, having parties where people were getting shot up. It hasn't been the case. I trust Nevada way more in this game than I do, and I agree with Max. Nevada or nothing for me. I still like the total. Maybe during the day it creeps down to that 160 range again because I think the pace will be there. But the play I probably feel most comfortable with, if I think Nevada's going to win this game, they should be able to get over their team total of 81 in this one.
Yeah, I've put player of the day down for Nevada, jumping on your coattails. Let's move on. Last one in this little section, and it's Colorado State getting one against UNLV, Donnie.
Yeah, two teams. Look, I like this game. 9-5 in the Mountain West, Colorado State. And if we take a look at UNLV, last time they played, they lost. They got crushed on the road. So maybe a little bit of a revenge that game, 95-77. If we take a look at these games and the styles that they match up with, doesn't it seem to always come down to, Flash, these teams that want to shoot three-pointers, it's a matter if they go down because they don't shoot it that well. 11 teams in conference. UNLV shoots actually 30% from three-point range, but their volume, 41% of their total shots in conference play come from behind the arc, and Colorado State will let you do that at 43%. This game's going to come down to, will you get rebounds, will you not get rebounds, but also one of the key equivalents here, UNLV fouls. Colorado State gets to the free throw line. Is that enough to go on the road? Because I know a lot of us will say, wait a second, man. Can we really take a team that just got bounced by like 25 or 30 points in the previous game and then say, I'm going to take UNLV to win this game outright? Well, crazier things have happened here. But I still do lean on Colorado State. I think they're the better overall team. But UNLV at home, if they can get hot from three-point range, they'll be in this one. No play for me. Lean Colorado State.
Max, lean the visitors or the home side?
No, I'm going with the Rams. They're going to take care of Nas tonight. Isaiah Stevens coming off a really poor shooting game. I think that gets corrected. I think that with Adam Thistlewood sort of healthy back in the lineup, that adds at least a defensive element that a team has to account for. Because if you're going to give him open shots, he's going to hit that. I think that with Colorado State, what have we seen? Well, they can come back from when they're down. Beautiful comeback a couple games ago. I think that continues. Oh, no, excuse me, it was last game. I think that continues continues again tonight. I do respect Amari Hardy and Bryce Hamilton for UNLV, but the fact is I just cannot see them losing Donnie Tillman, losing his defensive presence and his two-way play. Just I think that this is a bad situational spot for UNLV. I think Colorado State's been tested on the road. They've gone out. They've answered the call. Obviously, they do have a very good home court environment. I think that they still go out on the road and they just win this game. So give me Colorado State.
Okay, my lad, you've got Colorado State and it's official. Let's go into the lower majors. We've got 5. Don't worry about the time because today we're going to go until we finish. All right? So -6, Fairleigh Dickinson going into Central Connecticut. I'm going to start with you, Max. But when I say we're going to finish, I don't want you like, what's it? All song, all verse, and we're here for hours.
Well, it's hard for me not to talk about these teams for hours. This is the Northeast Conference, one of my favorite conferences, and a conference that all the guys in the chat can watch for free on their TV site. So go to NEC Front Row. You can watch all the games, and obviously then you can live bet them. So from this game perspective, I'm on FDU full game already. I took the -6. Listen, this is a team that's putting together at the right time of year. They've already matched up against these guys. The 83-60 game that they played earlier on in January is reflective of what I think is going to happen again tonight, even on the road. This is a Fairleigh Dickinson team that I think is going to be able to put up 80 with Jahiel Jenkins and Xavier Malone-Key. What have we seen? These guys can shoot threes. They can penetrate to the rim. They can make their free throws. Throw in Caleb Bishop in there, and if he's getting his three-point shot looks, I think that this offense is very hard to stop. Central Connecticut State's been doing a better job of scoring the basketball, but I do not think that at this number there's any value in taking the Blue Devils. So I'm on Fairleigh Dickinson. I'm on the -6, and I'll be also probably in the later part of the day adding on first half.
Okay, so Max likes Fairleigh Dickinson. Donnie, are you going to go with the visitors as well?
I like Fairleigh Dickinson in this game because the matchup makes sense, right? You're talking about one of the more efficient teams in conference here, but also when you take a look at bombs away from three-point range, a team that makes close to 39% of the threes going up against a team that it seems like we just previewed this game. 39% they give up from three-point range. Looking at the game -6 on the road, like, hey, in conference play, you got to win by about 10 points. They can do that, but actually, I'm a little bit more confident in taking a look at a team total. If you have those extra games, which 5 Dimes does offer, 76.5 is what that's going to sit at. I don't see any reason why Fairleigh Dickinson, with the tempo we should be able to get in this ball game, can't get into the high 70s here, Flash.
Okay, we like that then. Come on, Maxie, baby. Robert Morris, +4.5, going at St. Francis, PA. Donnie.
Yeah, looking at this game, you're going to get offense, and you're going to get some pretty good offense. You know, number 3 team in efficiency in conference play, Robert Morris going up against the number 1 team in St. Francis, Pennsylvania at almost 111. That is pretty impressive. When we take a look at teams that don't turn the basketball over, neither one of these teams turn it over at a high level. They do like to force turnovers, so that's going to be interesting to see who actually is going to get the better of each other. Take a look from three-point range. Robert Morris, 38% of their conference plays or conference shots come from the three-point line. Same exact thing for St. Francis, PA on defense, about 38 to 39%. This game's going to come down to making your free throws. 73.5% in conference play for St. Francis. I like the way Robert Morris has been playing, but I'm going to take the home team in this one, Flash.
What about you, Max? Where you going?
God damn it. I'm on St. Francis, Pennsylvania. It's already an official play. This is a spot where, listen, Robert Morris had a very devastating loss to FDU at home over the weekend. 72-71. The way that they lost that game was kind of just like the refs playing with, like, trying to play God. And they determined the outcome. So I do think that you're going to get an invigorated Robert Morris tonight. I think that you're going to get an efficient three-point attack. But the reality is, on the other side of the coin, this St. Francis, Pennsylvania team has cash tickets for you over and over again if you've been backing them. They've done a fantastic job at home. They are the creme brulee of this dessert menu when it comes to the Northeast Conference. And when it comes to creme brulee, I love creme brulee.
You love all food.
I'm on St. Francis. I'm on Isaiah Blackman, Keith Braxton. They're going to take care of business at home. I know that I have this theme now of home teams, but the reality is this time of the year, you take the team that your numbers like more, and that's what St. Francis is. They are a team, I think, that wins this game comfortably tonight. So.
And with a body like yours, Max, we know you love your food, especially your desserts. I'm going to come straight back to you, Max, because you're looking so warm. I'm going to go for Mount St. Mary's getting one, going into Wagner.
Yeah, this is a spot where, listen, what have we seen from Wagner at home? What have we seen from Wagner from an ATS perspective? And what have I seen from Wagner with my own goddamn eyes? Well, I've seen that they are untrustworthy, they are inconsistent, and they are burning your money if you've been betting on them on a game-to-game basis. This is a spot where I look for an inconsistent backcourt of Mount St. Mary's to be able to get some revenge against Wagner. Let's think about and look at this team. They were not able to hit threes. They were not able to hit shots. That was not because of Wagner's exotic defenses or scheme. It was because Mount St. Mary wasn't hitting open shots. I think that there's a serious amount of revenge. We've seen the Mount really step it up. You got to be impressed with the size and the perseverance defensively and getting to the rim of this backcourt for Mount St. Mary. I look at Mount St. Mary again right in this spot. I'm not taking a home team that cannot win, and I cannot remember the last time they won a game. I think it was the LIU game. So give me Mount St. Mary. They're coming for revenge. They're coming to your city, and they're eating your goddamn cake.
Creme brulee and cake in 2 games. I don't know what we're going to get when we go to Merrimack. Donnie, you liking Mount St. Mary?
Look, yeah, we're going to get to that next game, but yeah, I don't understand this game. I don't even understand the line. You're taking a look at a conference play, 11 teams in conference. Wagner is the worst on defense, but even if you don't take into account where they let you do whatever you want on defense, it's as simple as they don't even force turnovers. So you're going to go against Mount St. Mary, who's number 1 in the conference at not turning the basketball over, then flip it over. Wagner on offense is 10th out of 11th in turning it over. That's just going to be a process of elimination, saying Mount St. Mary is going to get better looks, not turn it over, have more shots. Where do I not sign up? Mount St. Mary's for me in this game.
Okay, I'm going to stay with you, Donnie, because Merrimack versus Bryant. Merrimack getting 2, and in the chat, they've been waiting for Merrimack since 9:15.
Yeah, like another one. This is the conference going off the rails because when you take a look at Merrimack, number 1 by a wide margin on defense. First of all, if you're taking a look at Bryant on offense, there's 11 teams in conference. They're the worst team, the worst at turning the basketball over. You know who's the best team on defense at turning you over in conference play? That's Merrimack. Then you take a look at 3-point range where Bryant wants to shoot volume. And Merrimack says, well, you're only going to make 30%, and we're going to chase you off of the 3-point line. Give me the defense all day long. I'm taking Merrimack here.
You've got it, Donnie. Max, creme brulee, cake. Where are we going next? Chicken tenders.
Oh, listen, this is filet mignon, medium rare with freaking mashed and freaking sour cream.
For the Sexton Blake.
That's what this is. This is a goddamn freaking trap, if there is one. I know us educated season cappers do not like to use that word, but I don't know another word in the freaking thesaurus to use for this situation. I have this game lined at 5 points for Merrimack. Yeah. I bet this as soon as I saw it come up on Sportbet yesterday. And this is a spot where I'll continue to hit. When you look at Merrimack, what have they done? They play zone. What do they do on defense? They freaking force and pressure ball handlers. They get into the lanes that you want to penetrate, and they stop you from getting into your offense. What have we seen them lose by? They've lost 1 game in their last 10. That was in overtime at LIU. What have we seen from Merrimack? When they lose because teams with size can take advantage of them. I do not think Juan Cardenas and Patrick Harding are the candidates to do that again. I think that Merrimack with Javarius Hayes and Jaleel Lord are able to force this guard-oriented, guard-heavy lineup of Bryant into a lot of mistakes, and I think that they win this game. My one concern when it comes to Bryant is not Adam Grant, it's not Ikena Ndugba, it is Benson Lin. If you do not stop Benson Lin early, then you're going to have problems. That is the one guy that I fear on this Bryant team. So Merrimack is my play of the goddamn day. Let's effing go.
Play of the day, the boys in the chat are absolutely loving it. And they're loving your, I think it's like a filet bourguignon or whatever you went for up there. It's just a normal bit of Sexton Blake for us. I'm going to come to you last now, Max. St. Francis, BK, -4.5 on the road, going into LIU. I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, this is a spot where I got to look at LIU in the situation. I think that when St. Francis Brooklyn goes out on the road, this is a team that's a little susceptible to falling behind late and not being able to stand back up. When you look at Raekwon Clark for LIU, yes, we've seen a little bit of offensive step backwards when it comes to his volume, but I think that it's just a factor of having Jermaine Jackson now playing more of a key role. I think coming off the Sacred Heart loss at home, this is a good situational spot for them to do what they did to Central Connecticut State. I think that by my numbers, this game would have been lined at 11.5. At 8.5, it's worth making a play. At 6, it's worth making a play. And at 6.5, I'm willing to make it official. I think that there's value all the way through this line since it opened and all the movement that's happened. So LIU, the only way for me, -6.5, -105, and that's going to be an official play.
Donnie, he's gone with the home side again. Becoming a bit of a homer, is our Max.
Yeah, for the last game of the show, I'm going to make this official that I don't have an official play on this game, and I'll leave it up to Max here on this LIU freight train here for us.
Okay, well, listen up. That's 23 games done, and we threw in a no-comment Ole Miss versus Missouri. 226. I don't care about the time. We've got everything done. You're happy. Be careful. Make sure you watch the Twitter of both Donnie and Max because they make plays during the day. We don't want you being on the wrong side. Press that button. 226 for watching. Press the button on the way out. Thumbs up. See you tomorrow. Go LSU. Go Maryland. Come on.